Hello and welcome to the Breakout Racing League, also known as BRL, Round 9, here in the Tier 3 Championship, as we have 11 driver grid here at the Austrian Grand Prix. As Austria is known for usually Red Bull domination, but last year that sort of changed, but now this year it's back to normal to Red Bull domination. Now, the Austrian Grand Prix track is named the Red Bull Ring as it is Red Bull's home circuit. It has 10 corners. Oh, wait, 1, 2, 3 DRS straights. And really, that's all I know about the track. Did you know that Niki Lauda is the only Austrian driver to win at his home crowd? As now, I'm your main commentator, Zach the Beast 42, is joined by DXD Ishigo. DXD, how do you feel about the Austrian Grand Prix and how it's going to turn out today?
I feel like it's going to be very hectic, as we saw last night in Realistic and in F2. But I also think it's going to be down to penalties. I feel like if you can get either no penalties or only 3 a second, it'd be a very big difference in this race, especially with only 11 drivers today. So I think some people could really have a really good race compared to the rest of the season. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yes, we will have to wait indeed. As for the weather, for qualifying, it seemed overcast for now, but I have no word on the weather for the race, as we will look for everyone on the tires. Everyone is on the soft compounded tire except for Killer and Codzilla. Codzilla, by the way, is in his debut race for the Mercedes AMG Petronas after replacing Quick-Tongue for having leg surgery, and once again, as like I said, in Canada, we hope for a speedy recovery. As Killer F1 is also on the mediums on an outlap, going through Sector 2 now, about to finish it and going into Sector 3. So only 4 drivers on their outlap, including Mitchie, Killer, Gary, and Ardell. And Ardell is one of the championship protagonists. Speaking of championship, here's how the standings come out. Coming into Austria, we have our championship leader, which is BRL Ardell, the Canadian, has 123 points to his name, and the person in second is the Ferrari of Ron Swanson 7580, which is also on an outlap, only 12 points behind, which is basically a race behind. So once again, with 11 drivers, you have a high chance of scoring points unless you DNF. And in the third place, we have the Mercedes driver of Gary, who's also on an outlap on the soft compounded tire. And Valdez, I'm not sure if it's this lap and next. We'll have to see, and yes, it is this lap and next, which will not help. And he also has, he has 93 points to his name, 30 behind Ardell, and 18 behind Ron. And actually, I did not notice this, but we have a tie between Gary and Taco for third in the championship standings. Taco hasn't had the momentum on his side lately, so Ardell sets the time to beat with a 5-3 on the soft compounded tire. And he has also 93 points to his name, 30 behind Ardell and 18 behind Ron.
Well then, looks like you've got all the bases covered for our viewers here, so now they have all the information they need. Interesting enough, Ardell with a very conservative banker lap to say the least, considering the pace of Tier 3, only a 5-3. He'll definitely be going faster. Same with Killer, he's doing an 8-4, I believe, so he's definitely got more in the tank. Interesting to see what these drivers do. It's a very fast track, but also very low wear, so you could get at least 2 laps out of these softs. So it's going to be interesting to see what they tend to do, especially in the last few minutes of qualifying.
Which will be interesting, as we do not know if it will be a wet race any. But like you said, a 5-3, I believe that's just a banker, and Killer's is 100% a banker in the medium compounded tire. Maybe going for a second lap, and yes, he is. He's already 3 seconds up on his time. Provisionally, purple sector 2, at least for now, as the person behind him is the Scuderia Ferrari of Ron Swanson. Let's see what type of time he does. Going through 9, going through 10 now. You gotta make sure that you don't ride that curve, go over it, because you're only about at your lap in the next one. And Killer sets the fastest lap of quality for 4-1 really, but
Where is Killer going? Killer just went into the wall.
Ooh,
and he has retired from the session on track.
Retiring on the track in this league is not allowed, as Mitchie actually retired in the pit lane. Interesting quali, at least for now. I believe that Killer didn't go in the wall on purpose. I believe he had a pedal glitch because that does happen in this fabulous game. As Gary has invalidated his time. Kieran is coming across the line now for 4.959, and the soft compounded tires will go to the best lap that everyone has done so far. I'm trying to see who else is on the lap. Catcher's on an out lap.
So is Kieran.
GXR Rage in the Alpine has set a purple sector 1 at least on my screen, so we'll have to see what he does going through sector 2 as he rides the curve a little bit. I think he got a little bit of oversteer coming out of the corner, but riding the curves, going into 7 now, going into 8, does not set a purple sector 2, going into 8 now, can't ride that curve either because you'll probably spin out. Now going into 9, you gotta have to cut the inside curve a little bit, doesn't get near it, goes over the curve, doesn't invalidate, hits that little curve, which you can't do, and he comes across the line with a 5.4 on the medium compounded tire, as we'll see if he goes for another run, which is, according to the ERS, running low and still going down. I believe he is still going for a second run as Alfa Romeo of Hey Catcher has started her lap now. Going to sector 1, let's see what type of sector 1 time she produces. She produces a 16 flat, which will not be a purple sector 1. She's on the medium compounded tires. Seems like everyone is setting their banker on the medium, so maybe we have a dry race on our hands.
Yeah, maybe. And just upon a Killer, he may have crashed out, and like you said, he may have had that throttle glitch on the wheel, sadly, because Codemasters is the best company on the planet. But that 4-1 is, I think that's very competitive. The gaps here are going to be very close, and I think that can set him up good. Maybe he wanted to go for the softs, but I think those mediums in that time will be very good. And considering it's only 12 cars, he'll be fine on those mediums, I'm sure.
Yep, as while you were talking, Walking Chaos actually has set a P2 lap as Hey Catcher goes to P3. Just only 300 separating Walking Chaos and Hey Catchers. Now we have gotten someone to join. I believe that was Chaos. I am not sure.
Ardell is 8 tenths up on his lap, coming to the final corner now.
As I've gotten word about the weather, and in fact, it is 6% chance of rain at the start and at the end. It's around 60-minute window, 72% chance of rain. So maybe, we'll see when we get there. But according to the game, we will probably have a greasy end to this Austrian Grand Prix. But like I said just now, you gotta sit and wait, and we'll only know once we get there.
Yeah, I think that's why I've seen a lot of people on the mediums. Ardell with that lap just now went up to P5, about 4 tenths off of Killer, and Rage is in the pit. Rage, at least on my screen, Rage went out of the pits for a second and popped back in. So that's an interesting tactic from the Alpine boys, I'm sure. And yeah, only a few drivers out on the softs, mostly just Gary. Kieran says he's on the softs, and he's actually coming out of the pits right now on the softs. So I guess he really wants to track position and just is hoping that the rain will come before he has to pit off those softs.
Yeah, something I forgot to say at the start of the stream is that the Breakout Racing League in the Discord announced that you cannot abuse the pit entry, as I'm not sure, I believe that is a Ferrari. Yes, I wasn't able to get to him in time, but you cannot go through the pit apex and then cut down. You have to actually take like the whole pit line. So you have to go to the right and stay there and take the whole pit line, because if you don't, probably someone will report you for that. I will not be surprised if I do see at least a singular report about the pit entry, as I believe the stewards will be very strict about it, unless you do try and make an attempt. What I've heard is that if you try and make an attempt, it will not penalize you for it, as it seems like everyone, at least more people, are going out in the softs, which include Kieran and Walking Chaos, and Taco is on an out lap on the medium compounded tire.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, these penalties. Hopefully these drivers are, I'm sure they're smart enough to keep it on the track. Meanwhile, someone's keeping it on the track right now. That's Ron Swanson. He's purple in the second sector if the game's not lying to us. He's about a 10th up, so it'll put him P4 if he can finish off this lap. He's going to the final corner now. Just about hits the apex, gets on the curve, rides it out, and now comes to the line with duty set. It's a 4-3 up to P4, Boosterly and Taco. So good qualifying for Ron so far with 7 minutes left in the session.
Yeah, we'll have to see as Ardell is now put on the soft compound tire. He's still in the pit lane, so we will see what he'll have to do. Smoking Chaos is on a lap now, going through turn 1. I think he cut the curb. The game didn't invalidate him because you can cut the inside curb. Yeah, inside. I got confused right there. Anyway, as he sets a purple sector 1, a 10th and a half up on his time. Like you're saying, in turn 1, you can cut the inside curb, but you do take that risk of if you hit it wrong, chances are the car will lose its balance and you will probably spin out. But Walking Cows, like I said before, a 10th and a half up on his time. We'll have to see what he does going through sector 2, but it seems like he's going to be the guy to beat, at least so far, if you're going to do a soft compounded tire lap run. As going through sector 2, he's now almost 3/10 up on his time. If he keeps it valid nor makes any mistakes, he will go up into provisional pole with a 1:39, the first, and he invalidates. That seems I'm saying that. I wonder if he will go for another run. And yes, he will, according to the ERS, going lower. And yes, he does. He's going for another run. Let's see what he will do through here. We'll see in a minute as we're trying to find people that are on their lap. Taco is not on a, I believe he's on an in lap of a 4.7. Kieran on a lap. Kieran's invalidated. That's Godzilla. Godzilla is at a 16.2 on the medium compounded tire. Seems like he is committed to starting on the mediums as there is 6 minutes left still in this qualifying session. So, seems like some people may have started putting their cars on the table. But we will see as Rana and Catcher both put on the soft compounded tire in the pit lane. So it seems like most of everyone is now starting to show what tire they're going to start on and what run they're going to do, as most of these drivers have done a medium banker. It's got Godzilla going to the line now as he sets a 6.3, a medium banker. We'll have to see later on what he does. Is Kieran going for another run? He's invalidated, so I do not believe not. So now everyone except for Godzilla, which is I believe is going for another run. And yes, he is. I wasn't able to get a sector 1 time, but everyone except for Godzilla right now isn't on a run and is in the pit lane.
Yeah, I guess they think the softs can go to the crossover period. You can easily make it a one-stop soft medium, so maybe some people try to extend those softs a few extra laps and hope and pray that the rain comes in time. The interesting thing is going to be the whether or not the rain settles on the track enough, because we've seen in races prior that the rain will come down, but it won't come down hard enough. And same goes for if it dries in time, because we've seen that a couple times this season. And yeah, I think Chaos is looking good for pole if he can hook up the lap, and I think a dark horse could probably be Katra or Ardell. And then Taco would definitely like a good qualifying, because he hasn't had the best races in the past few weeks here, and I'm sure he would like a good qualifying to start off his race for his Austrian Grand Prix.
100%. As like I said earlier, the championship battle is very tight between the 4 guys, and I will have to see Katja's points, but she's been on a roll lately. Every finish in her tier 3 career, she's been on the podium except for Canada, which she didn't have to do to a throttle application glitch, as what she told me. So she is actually 6th in points, 9 behind Mitchie and 64 behind Ardell. So she will be someone to note for later on in the season. As the championship is still, it's no longer early days. It's just now early/mid. As now not everyone, but some of these drivers are now going out on the track, and Godzilla is in, and his teammate Gary started a medium out lap and is going across the line now to start his lap, as both Alpines of GXR Rage and Kieran on an out lap on the soft compounded tire. So we'll go back to Gary on the medium compounded tire. Seems like he was on a roll lately, except for Canada, which he hit the back of Ardell coming out of the wall of champions and hit the wall, got wing damage, completely ruined his race. And at France, he got a P10. I don't remember why, but it's still not a great result for the championship between himself and the 3 other guys. And he rides the curb and invalidates his medium compound tire lap, which I believe won't matter, as now Kieran is on an out lap in the Haas F1 team. Let's see what GXR Rage and Kieran Evans can do. Kieran actually set a purple sector 1 if the game is correct, so seems like he's gonna, we'll have to see him and noted. And GXR Rage also set the purple sector 2, but it's a glitch. He will set a 4-6 ahead of Taco, but barely behind Ardell. He's going through turn 9 now, hits the curb, doesn't go over that one, doesn't invalidate, barely gets over it, does not invalidate. Let's see what he does. And he goes up into P5 for 4-3-5-5 ahead of his teammate Kieran Evans, which is going into 9 and 10 now. Let's see what he will be doing. I wasn't able to see his second 2 lap, so maybe he didn't improve, maybe he did. We'll have to see. As he gets a little bit of oversteer, is able to correct it, and goes into P4 with a 4-3, only 4/100ths ahead of Katra. As I believe, Ed, if Kieran was to do another run, he invalidated. As now Kieran with a 15.9 on the medium, seems like he's going to start in the medium compounded tire. Not able to improve in sector 2. Now he has some dirty air ahead of him, which is BRL Ardell in the white Red Bull, which will be, chances are, unfortunately, the last race of the White Bull, I believe. So let's see what Kieran can do. He has a slipstream, goes up in the P4 for 4th in the mediums. I'm trying to see who's on a lap. Ardell's invalidated.
Godzilla's about to start his lap. Yep.
I'm trying to see. Oh, I believe is Rage going for another running. Oh, he gets a snap. What a save from GXR Rage as Godzilla now started his lap. We'll see what he's going to be able to do. Because I believe now there's just a long train as Ron, Walking Chaos, and Catcher now on outlap. So everyone else is on their run or has been validated. Godzilla has it invalidated through Sector 1. Going to Sector 2 now. Let's see what he's able to produce in the Sector 2 times. See if he sets a purple or not. I believe Walking Chaos actually just started his lap. So he sets a purple Sector 1 with a 15.7, I believe that was. Now, qualifying is over. You got to get your times in. Taco doesn't... Oh, he actually is in the pit lane. They are down validated. Wasn't able to get back in time. Kieran's crossed the line. He's out. Let's see what Godzilla is able to do. He's the first driver that crossed the line that's had a valid time. Going through 9.
Oh, he's pitting.
And he's backed out of it. He's pitting.
Rage invalidated his lap time, so I think it's Chaos. Yeah, he's apparently, if the sector times are right, he's 4/10 up. We'll have to see if he can carry that speed throughout this next corner.
See that. Going through 9, going through 10 now. He's only 4/10 up on his time, which will make him break into the 3s and see what he's able to do. A 3.671, 5/10 clear actually of Killer F1, which is on the medium compounded tire. Catcher is not improved through Sector 2.
Ron's invalidated.
Ron's invalidated. Ron's out. So, will Catcher be able to do anything? No, she's invalidated.
Oh my God.
That's qualifying over.
By the slimmest margin. And look at Killer on the medium, P2.
What a astonishing lap from Killer, though.
Killer, Catcher, and Kieran on the mediums with Ron and P6. So it's mostly medium runners with only like 4 drivers on the softs. So it's gonna be interesting to see how the soft runners can do in the early stages of this race, whether they can pull away from the medium runners before the mediums kick in. You still there, bud?
Yeah, I am. I was taking a drink real quick of my Hawaiian Punch fruit juice.
Nice.
Yes, gotta stay hydrated. As, yes, everyone, all But we'll have to see what Mitchie does. I believe he'll go on the mediums, but only four. No, three. What am I saying? 3 drivers on the softs. Unless I'll have to double check. I don't want to sound stupid, so I'll double check. So, wow. Just a great quali. And there's a chance of rain, like I said earlier, at the end of the Grand Prix. So maybe we will see the guys on the mediums try and stick it out the whole Grand Prix and hope that it's inner conditions. Because the people on softs, chances are they wouldn't be able to make it to lap 25, 26. And they'll have to make another stop. So they'll be usually 18 seconds behind, which is the pit delta here at the Red Bull Ring, which is what Minico told me. Or for the stat line in the commentate. As speaking of Minico, unfortunately he won't be able to commentate Tier 4, so let's see that. As now we are just waiting for everyone to load in. And DXD, what are your predictions for the podium?
It's a good question. I'm gonna go with something a little crazy, which is crazy to say considering he's fighting for the championship. Taco for the win, Mitchie P2, and Rage P3. How about you?
To be honest, I believe it will be the people, like I said, France last week. For both Tier 3 and Tier 4, I was proven to be correct. It's going to be the guys that get the least amount of penalties. Last week in Tier 3 at France, Catra didn't get any penalties. Where did she finish? First. Tier 4, it was you, actually, that won the Grand Prix off of penalties. Because you didn't even get any. So, you know from experience how to win a Grand Prix and how to keep it on the tarmac. Luckily, I know the experience of knowing how to win a Grand Prix. As now, we're just waiting for formation lap to be over. Walking Chaos is your pole sitter. Like what qualifying settled earlier. Killer P2 on the mediums. Catcher P3 on the mediums. Kieran P4 on the mediums. Kieran P5 on the softs. Ron Swanson P6 on the mediums. Jigsaw Rage P7 on the softs. Everyone down to Godzilla is on the mediums. Godzilla is on the softs, and Mitchie's actually chosen the mediums. So it seems like most of these guys here are trying to make it the whole way until it rains, and maybe we will see the intercompounded tires come out here at the Austrian Grand Prix. But once again, it's still early in this Grand Prix. We don't know what's going to come. So we'll just have to sit back, popcorn. All the viewers get popcorn and a drink, preferably Dr. Pepper, because Dr. Pepper is the best. Can't even debate me on that. Popcorn, Dr. Pepper, and sit down, relax, and enjoy this Tier 3 race. As Walking Chaos in the McLaren is now starting to set the grid.
I'm gonna predict a first lap safety car.
I wouldn't be surprised, but now we're just waiting for Mitchie across the grid, and now he is. And now we have 4 red lights, 5 red lights! And it's lights out! And away we go as Walking Chaos gets a great start. Kieran does not get a good start whatsoever. And there's contact! Contact in the back, they're all good. My question is, does anyone have side pod damage? That's top on the Grand Prix! That will be absolutely crucial for the championship, as they're going wheel to wheel for P2 between Kadra and Kieran. They're both on the medium compounded tires. They're going to even. Now they're even going into turn 4, and that's a VSC.
What? Terrible opening lap for Taco. There was some big scrambling going on with Gary. He had a good start, but went sideways and then bumped, I believe, Ron. So thankfully for both of those drivers, they're safe and sound. No visible wing damage, but Taco, my prediction for the win, is now out on the first lap. He has just had no luck these past few races at all.
No luck whatsoever, which, if the door wasn't wide open already, the door is broken down. Everyone, especially with this Taco DNF, he will be awarded no points whatsoever in the Austrian Grand Prix. As Taco's left already, which is very unfortunate for him. But now this will help Ardell. And actually, they're going back green. I wasn't notified about that. Huh. I guess I didn't know that in this game. But seems like everyone's even except for Kieran. Kieran's off, actually. Does he have any wing damage? No, he does not,
no.
at least for now. I believe Kieran is trying to shape a move on catcher. No, she is not. It seems like everyone is holding stationary, at least 6 tenths behind the competitor ahead of them. I'm trying to look down as Kieran only 2 tenths behind Katra. Kieran almost hits the back of Katra. Katra gets a snap of oversteer. Kieran will not look for a move, but is very close to the rear gearbox in that Alfa Romeo Racing or lead. Okay, Katra 3-1-2-4. I said early in qualifying, Katra's been on a huge charge, especially for momentum. And did she just go off? Yes, she did!
Oh my god!
No! I can't believe it! No way! I believe that threw Ardell off. Does Ardell have damage? Yes, he does. He's coming in for the pits. The championship is wide open.
Gary's right behind Rage. Oh, but he backs out. He was challenging, and like you said, Ardell in the pits. That's 2 championship rivals of damage, but of course Taco worse off than Ardell. Thankfully for Ardell, there's only 11 drivers, so he can still make points. But Gary is now caught past Rage for P5, and Rage won't like that on those softs. He needs to stay ahead of these drivers, or at least stick with them before softs drop off.
Yep, as this is something Walking Chaos did not need, especially with the VSC. He needed to grow the biggest gap and didn't need anything to hamper him. With the VSC now, that has given Killer, Karen, Maran all DRS on him, which will not help out whatsoever. As in realistic, you saw I was on the softs, Moo, everyone behind me. Oh, Walking Chaos is on!
The same corner.
Same corner as Catcher. Seems like that curve is throwing everyone off. Which that may be a dangerous for injuries. I like to call that curve
AI mode. I don't know what's going on there, but even AI on my screen.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. But wow, it seems like that curve is showing everyone off. As I usually call that curve the Xeno curve.
I was gonna say that.
Which is, there's a little backstory to why it's called the Xeno curve. But it seems like we have a Haas 1-2. I can't believe it. 2 weeks in a row now we've had a Haas 1-2.
Remember when you said it was looking like a Haas 1-2 in Tier 4 France last week? Well, we got it in Tier 3.
Now here in Tier 3, it seems like the Haas 1-2 can't escape. Or we can't escape the Haas 1-2.
Look at Godzilla. Trying to make a move on Mitchie. He's still showing us in AI mode for me. I don't know about you, but it still says he's in AI.
Yeah, Mitchie's in AI. He did say in Tier 3 chat that he may have to go into AI mode for a little bit, so I think he's just in AI mode for whatever he's doing. Seems like another lap. Will anyone be thrown off of that curb? No. No one will be. Unless Ardell gets thrown off by it. Seems like Killer, Kieran, and Ron all are in the DRS train at the moment. And Killer gets a 3-second time penalty, which will be absolutely crucial. Now, Kieran has 90 ERS in the DRS. He'll have the overspeed. Killer has 70. I believe Killer will just let Kieran through, and no, he does not. Ooh, that's a little Max Verstappen shows the clear moment. There's no contact. Now, Ron is already caught up 2 tenths now. They're battling. This will help Ron absolutely as Ron sets the fastest lap of the, not Ron, Ardell. Oh, that was close to being contact. They're going wheel to wheel. Come on, where's the helicopter view? Unfortunately, we're not going to get that as Killer is still fighting for it. Oh, is that contact? I do not believe that was. As nope, Killer does not have any visual front wing damage, so I believe he had no damage. And now this absolutely opens the door for Ron, as that probably overheated their tires a little bit. Probably not, but the possibility is still there. As Killer is only 3 tenths behind Kieran. Will he go for a move? I do not believe so. As GXR Rage gets a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits. So it seems like the penalties are already starting to rack up a little bit, as there's a little battle going on in P9 between Podzilla and Kieran Evans. And it seems like Killer is going to look for a move. Yes, he will. Going into turn 3. Well, there's clean racing. Killer. Oh, that's contact!
Why are they fighting so hard? Gunther Steiner is slamming his door. Oh my gosh, Braun is now in the lead. And the Haas's 1-2 is now a 2-3. And Killer has a 3-second time penalty. Wow.
Wow, this is absolutely... This is 100% racing. It's your opinion if you want to call it great racing or not. Because I believe Kieran may have gotten wing damage from it. I'm not sure. He is extremely off the pace. I'll have to see, but I do not believe so. As we'll have to see. He goes in the pit lane. No, he does not, so he does not have any wing damage. His tires are probably overheated. He's probably trying to cool them down. As he's off! He corrects it! What a save! Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that was something special.
Yeah, really. But now it seems like the Haas and Ferrari of Ron Swanson are going to be going at it. So we're going to have to see if there's going to be even more contact. Because I know Ron. I raced with him in Realistic and Tier 4. He's not really that type of guy to fight. Unless you saw happened in France. Yes, it was France. And that's a yellow sector 2. That is Walking Chaos. He's off. That's something he did not need. Now those softs are going to be cooked 100%.
He wasn't fighting anyone. He was just in a little free space of free air, and he spun. So that's 2 spins on those softs. And he has wing damage, actually. So, yeah, it's going to be a very tough recovery race for the lone McLaren driver.
Yep, that is unfortunate for him, as now we're going on the main straight once again.
Already
about to finish lap 7. As Kieran's in the pits for wing damage.
I do not know. All I know is that Killer is right behind Ron, and Ron has about 60% ERS compared to Killer's 90, so I don't think Ron's going to fight this too much. He's not using anything. He's just going to let Killer go right here, and just stick behind the Haas driver, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure ooh, actually, Killer missed the apex and went wide. Now, will Ron go for the move? I don't believe he will, as Killer is using a little bit of ERS, and no, Ron doesn't use any of his ERS whatsoever. And Killer is on the hards, actually. He's betting on that the rain won't actually come, but if it does come, it will be greasy. And if it's greasy, though, that would not help his hard compounded tire, because they would be old by the end of this Grand Prix, and they would lose more grip than it already has.
Yeah, interestingly enough, Killer currently leading the race about 8 tenths to Ron, and the average pit stop here is around 18 seconds, so give it a few more laps and they'll be coming out ahead of Mitchie and just behind Godzilla, so it's looking good for the top 2 right now. They've got a nice comfy gap to the rest of the field, 4 seconds to Gary in P3.
Yeah, it seems like Killer is pushing those mediums. Seems like Ron is just not pushing the envelope for now. I don't blame him, really, as you saw what happened between Kieran and Killer, the Haas teammates, when they had the green light from their race engineer, if they had one, to go the race for it. You saw what happened. Killer and Kieran made contact. Kieran got wing damage from it, unless he didn't and got wing damage from a different incident, but we'll have to see. But Ron just does not need that situation to repeat, especially when the door is wide open for the championship at the moment.
Yeah, Ardell, talking about the championship, Ardell's only P9, about 6 seconds on off his teammate. He's on slightly pressure softs, only 5 laps sold, so if he's lucky and the rain comes around the time the medium runners have to pit, he might be able to just pit with them. But, of course, he's going to come out when the leader's pit will be about 8 seconds behind them, but never say never. It could easily have a safety car. I'm surprised we haven't had one with the amount of incidents we've had, but never say never. Could always have a safety car, as the field is starting to spread out a bit.
100%, as the closest battle on track, as of right now, is between P4 of DXR Rage and the Alpine Paint Catcher and the Alfa Romeo. She is barely outside the 1 second window for DRS, and DXR Rage is using his battery. He's at 10% battery. If your battery's below 20%, actually not below 20%, it's actually 10%, that the light at the rear gearbox will start blinking, indicate. Actually, yeah, it's below 10%. Walkie counts, it's the fastest lap of the Grand Prix over 5.8. It seems like the track is getting more grip, which is really common sense. The more laps these guys run, the more grip it's going to get, which is the more grip the tires are going to get. I apologize for having a stroke right there. This capture is now in the 1 second window for DRS on the Alpine of GXR Rage, as he actually gets a snap of oversteer through there. If you caught that. So we'll have to see as if GXR Rage will let capture third, because this is usually the window of when the soft compounded tire will start to fall off. As you can tell 100% that GXR Rage is struggling, having to use that battery to hold off Catra, which is not helping as of right now. Oh, GXR Rage gets another 3-second time penalty, which will put him at 6 seconds worth of time penalties. I believe Catra will not be looking for a move. Actually, I saw that she disabled her DRS, which is a really smart play, actually. Now, she's on the battery now. She's trying to shape up a move. No, actually, no, she's taking her time, which I could compliment her for. It's only lap 11. Never say never. We can still obviously hit the car. Killer F1 gets another 3-second time penalty. It seems like these two are the only drivers getting time penalties as of right now. So we're still focused on the battle for P4. As Catra is on the rear gearbox of that Alpine. Rage is 100% struggling. Rage is going down. Is he hitting this time? We'll have to see. No, he does not. It seems like he was trying to break the slipstream through there. As he misses the apex, actually, Catra's going to go down to the bottom. Gets a snap of oversteer. Now she's going to go to the inside with the overspeed DRS. Lets off the DRS button. And GXR Rage just lets her through, which is smart play on both sides of the spectrum.
Yeah, very smart move from Rage. He's using his DRS here. Is he going to go for a move? He's going to look to the outside. Yes, he is going for a move. I don't know why. Looks like he let him through, but Catra lets him through. His Rage goes off the track.
He misses.
Way too deep. His BRL Kieran gets a 3-second time penalty on those hards. It's not going to help his race at all. But as Ardell and Mitchie are fighting side by side, and there's a bit of contact. Mitchie gets shoved off the track, but he's in AI mode still. So I guess, Ardell wants to be a little pushy with the AI. He's probably annoyed with his race so far. But yeah, looking at the chat, and we have Miniko saying that Ron doesn't seem to be up to pace, and I can agree with that, but also, look at Killer. He's on 6 seconds worth of time penalties, and Ron's only 3 seconds behind. And he's got about 10% more ERS, so maybe Ron is just waiting for the rain, waiting for this time to come to him, because right now he's still looking on for the race win, so anything can happen here. So a very long race. There's a yellow flag. That's Godzilla.
That's Godzilla. And he hits the wall. That's wing damage. My question is, did he try and make an entry on the pit lane and maybe got in the tower a little bit too early? Because I do know, actually, there's a battle between the Alpines going on between Rage and Kieran, as I believe Rage just let Kieran through on their both 12-lap old soft tires.
Look at Kieran coming from Mitchie right now. I think Mitchie's back in the race. Fortunately, it's been a very long time since he's been back, and Kieran makes the move.
Actually, Rage made the move back on Kieran, so it seems like Rage is looking a little bit racy as he does not have a helmet on. Great game, Codemasters. I really appreciate it.
Really great.
Product of a game. But Godzilla not having a great debut race unless the safety car does come out. Seems like my input on the Ron Swanson not having any pace still. I believe that he has pace. I just believe he's waiting for the right moment to start pushing. Because he's usually not that guy to try and win the race on lap 14 especially. And his strategy works all the time, especially
all the time.
Realistic. Oh, the Alpines are going at it, going into turn 1. Seems like Kieran went for a move and Rage just allowed him, as Rage is using the ERS, which he does not have any. Let's see if he will send it. No, he will not, as he will get the DRS on Kieran. Kieran is below 10% actually on 13. Rage on 20. Now 10. Now his rear gearbox will start blinking. As will Rage go for a move? No, he will not. Actually, you saw there, he started lifting. So it seems like these two are going to use each other as slip.
And here comes Kieran on Ardell down inside. He gets past the Red Bull, but he goes deep. And here comes the switchback from Ardell. get it? Yes, he can, but Kieran's still there, and Ardell has basically no ear as he goes down the inside, and he gets cut off. He had his nose in there, but Ardell said, no, thank you. I'm keeping this P7. You could look at my gearbox, and Mitchie is going to try and get past you as well, because you're a Haas, and nobody likes your car. That's basically what just happened.
As Rage is actually in for the mediums. As that's
Oh,
yellow.
chaos!
That's walking chaos once
That's a
again.
Xeno curb again.
That Xeno curve is really making casualties right now.
It really is.
As Kieran will probably look for a move going into turn 3. It seems like turn 3 has been the common move to make an overtake. As yes, he will. He goes down the inside. Ardell's Rocky Chaos actually comes in the pit lane. As it seems like as Rocky Chaos retires from as the Red Bull boys are going at it, and Ardell lets Mitchie through. So yes, Mitchie is actually back in this Grand Prix. Now let's see what he's going to be able to do. As Walking Chaos has retired. Now as long as you finish this race, you will get points to your name. So if I'm these guys, at this point, you're getting points. Don't do anything stupid. I mean, I would still try and race, but don't like send it up the inside of someone, especially at like turn 9 at stage in the race, because you do something like that, you will 100% cause an incident, and will probably be enough. As Kieran Evans on this 14-lap sauce will come in, and which will
so does Ardell.
Ooh, Ardell maybe have lean damage there. Seems like he was a little bit off the pace, but we will have to see as Mitchie and Kieran. Oh, Mitchie's misses turn 1 a little bit. So we're going to have to see if Mitchie goes for a move on Kieran, and he has the DRS. He will have the overspeed. He's looking, he's peeking, he outbrakes a little bit more than Kieran. He's actually going for a switchback. He gets the grip on the exit, which once again will have the ERS, and actually does not have the ERS advantage. He only has the DRS advantage. He's peeking once again. He does not look for the move. So it seems like he is playing it safe. As DXR Rage and Ardell actually are gonna shape up a little scrap here, as Rage is using all the battery that he can to shape a move on Ardell. He's actually gonna look for it on the outside. Ardell and Rage equal on the brakes. Ardell misses, doesn't get as good as exit. Will Rage battle it? No, he will not. He lets Ardell back through, maybe hoping for the DRS on the second straight, maybe in the first to shape up a move, but we will have to see. This is the battle between P5, between Kieran and Mitchie, staying equal at the moment. As speaking about Ron off the pace, he's now out of the 6-second window between himself and Killer. So if he needs to win at this Grand Prix, if there's no safety cars, Killer will have to start racking up these time penalties. As Mitchie is actually looking for a move on Kieran for P5. Mitchie on the 6th lap.
Bit of contact.
Mediums, there's a bit of contact. Mitchie misses the corner a little bit. Kieran will have the DRS, which will use to his advantage, as Mitchie was not able to get the overtake done, as I believe, no, maybe, Rage and Ardell still going at his Rage. That's a purple sector 1 as he hops the curve a little bit, which will not help out his run going into turn 4, as he's lost a bunch of time already to BRL Ardell due to hopping that curve.
Yeah, and like you were mentioning with Ron, he's out of the 6 seconds, is now to 7 seconds. Interesting enough, I was looking at the warnings, Ron has none, while Killer is up to the 6 seconds he already has, plus he also has 2 additional warnings, so 2 more warnings and it'll be up to 9 seconds, so he's going to have to watch out. He's halfway through the race, so as long as he keeps up this pace and he can have if the rain does come, if he does have a good stint on the rain, he'll be fine, but yeah, back to the battle for P5. Mitchie's just looking for a move, getting to the outside. He's got the ERS, he's got the speed. Can he make the move? Kieran's gonna keep it around the outside. Yes, he can. He'll have the DRS.
They're banging wheels.
Just a little bit. It's nothing but hard racing here, folks. Austrian Tier 3. And Mitchie, will he send it down the inside? No, Killer. Another time penalty. What did I just say? What did I just say? I cursed him. I'm sorry. Not sorry. Or Killer.
The commentator jinxing going out for everybody. First it was Taco, now Catcher, now we're up to Killers. Mitchie gets a 3-second time penalty. Oh, Ron, no! What a save from Ron! It seemed like he hopped the curb and almost lost the car, which will not help out especially when he's almost on the brink already of losing the 9-second gap between himself and Killer.
Yes, Ron, I still like to think that he has the pace, but over the course of the race, it looks like Killer has pretty much had this under control. And at this point, Killer's going to be coming out just ahead of Catcher at P4 and only a few seconds behind Gary's. And then, meanwhile, Ron is going to come out somewhere between the fight of Kieran and Mitchie. So he needs to extend a bit longer in order to have the gap to Mitchie. And Kieran might go to the end. I don't know. He honestly might go to the end of those cards. They're only 10 laps old. They can easily do 26 laps. So he could be an underdog for maybe a P4 or even a podium as Gary enters the pits now. On those tires for 18 laps and now he's in the pits.
Yep, now the window for the soft as Catcher gets a 3-second time penalty as Gary is on the soft compounded tire, which I'm really not surprised about. Now 19 laps have been completed. Now we're on lap 20 as Ron is now already out of the 9-second gap between himself and Killer. As seems like Gary will come out behind as Kieran gets it. No, actually, I thought that was Killer. I saw Haas get another 3-second. I thought that was Killer. But that is Kieran with another 3-second time penalty. As we look for the time penalties, Killer is at 9, Catcher at 3, Kieran at 6, Mitchie at 3, Jason Rage at 9, and Godzilla at 3. Now, Gary on the soft compounded tire, this will not help him out whatsoever with the traffic ahead of him. He will get the dirty air, so which will not be good for him. Because I learned this from experience. If you're on a new compounded tire, especially after pitting, you will lose so much time after being in the dirty air. I lost essentially 6 seconds a minute ago, but I was able. Oh, Mitchie's around. The Xeno curve strikes once again.
The Xeno curve strikes again. Darn you, Xeno.
Yeah, everyone's probably giving the middle finger, or Mineko, whatever you want to call him. It's probably giving him the middle finger right now, especially after cursing that curb. And now Gary on the soft compounded tire, which will help him out when Mitchie's in. I'm not surprised really. He's probably cooked those tires up. Gary does not look for a move. He's probably peeking, letting them know, hey, I'm there.
And a little sloppy on the exit.
I believe.
I don't know why it said the word sloppy.
Yeah. I believe.
Mitchie comes out on the softs. Come out ahead of Godzilla. It's gonna be close. Godzilla's gonna have the overspeed. He comes out just ahead of Godzilla, and he gets DRS.
Oh, Ron's in. We'll have to see. See how much time he gains. Let's see if he will come out in traffic. Actually, I believe
he might come out right next to Gary. Actually, the Catcher also comes in.
Well, we're gonna have to see where Ron and Gary end up. Oh no! Gary's passing Ron. This will not help him out whatsoever.
It's gonna be close. Wow. Gary came out of... Did he come out of nowhere?
Yeah, he came out of nowhere.
Yeah. I don't remember the exact gaps before the pit stop, but I definitely know Ron was at least a few seconds ahead of Gary, so really good undercut from Gary. Undercut looking very strong around here. I'll keep that in mind for the 2-4 race. Keep that in mind. You see me pit a few laps early, then you know where I got it from.
Gotta take notes, and Killer is in, so now he's probably undoubtedly gonna stay ahead of these guys. But the question is, how much time will he lose? Because if he loses that 9-second gap, or 11 seconds, whatever it was, if he loses that gap to Gary and Ron, he's no longer in that free window. And
yeah,
which
Killer comes out the pits, clear ahead of anyone on track.
See, his gap is starting to come down now. He is... Oh, it's gonna be close. He's not. Killer is no longer in the 9-second window. Ron has DRS on Gary. He's looking for a move, and Gary just lets him through. So now it seems like Ron has the pace on the soft compounded tire. Let's see what he will be able to do. if he's able to stay in the 9-second gap between himself and Killer, Smitchy sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix with a 5.6.
You know, I think Gary got ahead now. Look at his ERS. He's down to about 30%, and Ron's at 80%. So I think he was very much utilizing the tires and the ERS to close down that gap to Ron. But now he's got to try and get that energy back up. And with this being such a fast and short circuit, it's going to be I think it'd be a tough last stint for Gary if the conditions remain dry, which it's looking more and more likely that it will, because there's only 12 laps left in this race.
Yep, as Ron sets his fastest lap of the Grand Prix for 5.3, seems like his Ferrari has come to life after the first stint. Now we're in the second stint. Maybe he set up his car for the short run and for the soft compound tire. So it seems like Killer's starting to use his battery now. He's at 50. Yeah, he's draining it. As Ron is actually on 60 ERS, as he is saying, actually, never mind. He's using his. He's at 50 now. It seems like Killer and Ron are actually pretty even. It seems like Killer knows he needs to get in that gets ahead of that 9-second gap, and Ron is keeping it even and is actually gaining on Killer a little bit, which is not good for Killer whatsoever. So we're gonna have to see what evolves later on in this race. As I accidentally muted my mic, but go on.
Oh, this Killer sets the fastest lap in response to Ron. It's the gap about 8.5. But I was looking in the chat, Interior Titan, great to see you in the chat. He was saying that Gary should just follow Ron, and I was thinking the same. He really would like to stay from the DRS, but he's trying to follow so much that he's really on ARS. It's down to 20%. But so is Ron. Ron's down to 15%, while Killer's at 40%. So I think if this Killer's pace is decent, then I think he has this in the bag, considering his ERS levels. His Codswell gets another 3-second. But yeah, also catcher on those softs. She's trying to catch Kieran, and BRL Kieran still P4 on those hards with a 6-second time penalty, but he's had a good recovery race on those hards.
Yep, 100%, as Killer's actually starting to extend the gap a little bit. Seems like every other lap, the top two just switch out between who's the fastest, who's the slowest. And Gary is actually starting to gain a little bit and is draining all of his ERS. He's at 15. Ron's at 20 now. Let's see what Killer's at. He's at 50. He's saving up the battery probably for the last. Oh, that's the old flag. Who is that?
Kieran.
That's Kieran.
Yeah, the Zeno curve.
The Zeno curve.
Zeno curve.
We should like make a name for that curve.
Yeah, we're just gonna rename it Zeno curve. Yeah. Make sure to call that in Tier 4 streams. Call it the Zeno curve. You'll see me spin there a couple times.
Nah, I hope that wouldn't happen to you. You've been on the charge lately. But
yeah,
anyway,
I need to keep it that way.
Yeah, you need to keep it that way. But anyway, the battle between P2, I wouldn't call it a battle, at least for now. Gary's just keeping himself in the DRS of Ron Swanson, as the Alpine teammates once again going at it. Seems like they cannot avoid each other in this Grand Prix.
No, they cannot.
Yeah, Kieran actually got ahead of GXR Rage. Will Rage look for a move? No, he will not.
I think this was a... Go ahead.
Anyway, I believe this race is just now an endurance race. Do not get any time penalties, as Killer is flirting in that 9-second gap. It's close. So it seems like Ron's pace is starting to fall off a little bit once again, and now Ron is now out of it. Actually, he's back in it. It's really close now. I don't want to look at warnings anymore. I want to see it unfold. Something I would like to point out is that look at the weather. The clouds are starting to come in.
Yeah, they are. You said you didn't want to get the warnings. I was just looking at them. I won't tell you for this stream, but yeah, like you said, the gap's very close between 9 seconds. Oh, as Rage gets past Kieran, and Rage goes
Rage
off
actually
the track.
missed a corner.
These Alpines are just having a fun time, aren't they?
Yeah, you can tell the warnings in chat. I'm not looking at it, but don't say it the way I know, because I want to see this unfold, the drama unfold, as Killer is now 1/10 ahead of the gap. It's getting close. It's going to be down to the wire. Ron's at 25. He's probably saving up his ERS as well.
I think it was a very good, I wouldn't say strategic because I don't know if he did this on purpose, but I think it's been really good from Gary. He used his ERS on his outlap, got, I believe he got ahead of Ron and got past. And now he actually has a bit more ERS than Ron, and it's just sticking with him, pulling away from Kieran, no surprise, and they're just almost within those 9 seconds. So I think they're just working together now, trying to get closer and closer to Killer as Kieran gets another 3-second time penalty that puts him up to 9. Catch it behind only 3 seconds, so he's gonna fall down to about P7 as long as the pace remains the same. But yeah, still a good recovery drive from him, and I know Ron's definitely liking this race, considering that Taco is currently out and Ardell's in P6.
Up 100% as the clouds are slowly starting but surely starting to come in. As you can tell, it's still, the sun is still out, but it's 100% gotten a little bit more cloudy. But now Ron is really starting to fall off. He's lost 5/10 that lap alone, so maybe he's saving up his stuff. We're gonna have to wait and see. But I believe Gary at this point is probably getting more and more impatient with Ron, saying like, hey, if you cannot catch him, let me through. Let's do something. That way I have a shot at the win of this Grand Prix. But we all know that Ron isn't going to do that. He's not going to let the win down easily. Nobody would.
Yeah, nobody would. But, and to Ron's favor, he is gapping Gary a little bit here in the second sector, and there's only about a 10% ERS difference. And Gary there's a spin, and that is Rage, I believe. Yes, it is.
Yes.
He spun on his own.
Did he reset the track?
I don't think so. I think he did a little flick spin to get back on the tarmac, so he should be fine.
Yeah, I was making sure because like his car was pointed straight, like he reset the track, but thankfully he didn't track reset. He knows.
Is that Kieran in the pits?
Oh, who's that?
Yes, it is.
Oh, that's Kieran. Yes, it is.
That's about the temp. Maybe he thinks those hards aren't working anymore. Oh, as he smashes the pit board speed limiter. That's interesting.
Rest in peace. Anyway, it does not seem like the rain will come in time, as Gary, like I said, is growing more and more impatient. Went a little bit deeper in the corner, as now is using his ERS more, so he's 100% getting impatient with Ron here, which is, this may be a make or break battle if Killer does indeed get another 3-second time penalty, which I do not know how many warnings that he does have, so we're going to have to wait and see if he gets another time penalty or not, because if he does, Ron is just barely a second above that buffer.
Yeah, he needs to make sure he stays within 12 seconds. The gap is just increasing now. If Killer gets the penalty, but Ron isn't within the 12 seconds, he's going to be kicking himself fighting Gary. And he doesn't need to be. Both these drivers are fighting each other when they need to try and just keep it calm and collected and hope that Killer gets another penalty.
100%. But Gary using ERS more. Now he's 3/10 behind Ron now. He's probably going to shape up for a move going into turn 4. We'll have to wait and see. Only 5/10 behind. We're going to have to see if he uses the battery or not. It's going to be close as no, he will not. He will not be able to make a move going into turn 4. Now the laps are slowly winding down. The impatience is getting little and more little by the second.
Yeah, there's not much to say here. It's mostly just second and third. Catcher doesn't have to worry about Kieran anymore, so he's pitted on the fresh softs. And yeah, that's actually about it. This race is definitely not over, as Gary's right behind Ron, but it's definitely just a fight between these two, and if Killer gets another penalty or not, because the gap's 11.9 now, so they're right on the cusp of being outside that 12-second range.
Yeah, which would basically write the race in the books, at least for the win. Seems like the clouds stopped coming in a little bit, so it seems like we're gonna have a dry ending in this Grand Prix, which was It's just great to see, really able to see everyone facing the dry as Kieran gets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Which, oh, Mitch is out of the Grand Prix! Will that be a safety car?
Will it be a safety car? He did it right on the...
Yes,
it's
it
a
is!
safety car! And Killer's right at the pit lane. What do you... that 9 seconds? Does he pit? Oh, he cut the pit lane line. I don't know if that's technically the right way to do it. We'll have to wait and see if the stewards have a look at it. But that looks a bit sketchy to me. But we'll have to wait and see.
Sure
but yeah.
Clip it if you believe it was a pit entry infringement.
Definitely clip it. Look at this. Ron and Gary still no penalties, and Killer with those 9 seconds. This is gonna really basically wreck Killer's entire race. He's been doing such a great job. He got the gap to about 12 seconds, so in case he had another penalty, he would still be clear. But now he's got Ron and Gary. Katja has 3 seconds, and then you have Ardell and Kieran with no penalties, so they can really win big. As Rage gets a drive-through for speed.
We have a gambler. We have a gambler. The Alpine of Kieran Evans has in the 16-lap-old mediums and is now in P4s. Kieran stays out, no doubt.
And he gets a penalty!
The commentators jinx.
Oh my gosh. I was definitely surprised to see him pit, considering he would have been in really good contention, considering he had no penalties, but now he has a penalty and the very old mediums. But I guess to his logic, he'll only have to defend for 2 laps. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. We had something similar happen in last season at Tier 2 at Austria. I know I stuck it out in the mediums and everyone else pitted for softs, and I fell back like a rock in water. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do.
Yep, really interesting. As we look at time penalties, GXRH has a drive-through. That's his race all but done, unless there's another safety car coming by. This time by, there will not be, which is unfortunate for the Alpine of GXRH. Killer's race, man, it was in his hands.
He had done everything right, except the track excursions, of course, but other than that, his racecraft was simply perfect. And he had executed his pace and completely dominated, but now it's gone up in shambles, and I don't know. But look at Ardell, one of the 3 drivers without penalties. He can easily get a P3.
Yep, 100%.
So this is going to be great for him in his championship fight, because if he did have a penalty, then Ron would be what could possibly win in this race, and Ardell could be as low as P9. So, but hey, everybody gets points because there's only 9 drivers left, so it'll be worse.
Yeah. Very exciting way to end this Grand Prix. Seems like the clouds have now decided to come in a little bit more, which will sort of help the softs, sort of not. But everyone is on the softs. And safety cars in this lap, actually. We're going to have a 2-lap dash to decide this race, as everyone except for Kieran is on the softs. Let's see. I'm excited to see what Kieran can do, really, because you can't win a race by being on the same strategy as everyone else. You have to take a gamble one race or another. And this is Kieran's race to take that gamble. He needs the points, all the points that he can. Said last week about the Tier 3 championship, all these 4 drivers are in it are really consistent. You need to take a gamble. You need the points. And now Kieran is going now. The safety car is in. Kieran's going. Has he caught Ron napping? Has he? Yes, he has. It seems like everyone's not been able to run at each other except for Catcher.
But Catcher's
looking for a move on Kieran. Catcher backs out of it.
And Ardell's going around the outside now. He wants to get
Kieran,
and he's on the.
He's on the Grand Prix.
No more safety cars. That's unlucky for him, but lucky for the likes of Ardell and Catcher. They didn't have to worry about making contact with that driver. And Ardell's going down the inside, and he's got the move on Catcher just about. He slows down for the corner. Catcher's got the ERS and slips in. They're both on the button. Will Catcher make a move? He's still on the button. They're both on the button. She's going to go around the outside, maybe. She's going to try and get the switch back, maybe. No, she can't. She's going to stick behind the Red Bull driver and possibly just follow him through. He doesn't have any penalties, so she could just try and follow him as Ron's with an 8-10 of Killer, and Gary's 1.4 off. So at this point, they're still going to get first and second, and Killer's going to fall all the way down to P6 as Godzilla's 20 seconds off the lead, so they don't have to worry about him.
Yep, 100% as Kieran. Oh, Ardell's used all of his batteries. Now it is complete overcast. Kieran is using his battery. Ardell does not have any battery to use. Now in the final lap of the Austrian Grand Prix. I'm not paying attention to Killer because we have a huge battle for the podium as Ardell will probably get it at the time being. Ardell's on the button. He's barely above 20. Now he's below 20. He's going to look for a move. Kieran's going to let him have it down the inside. Dana recording type of braking. Misses the corner. Kieran's looking for a switchback. Everyone's dumping their battery now. Will there be contact? I hope not. Now they're both on the button. Kieran has the button advantage. As you're going into turn 4. Now we have the helicopter view. Catchers in the battle. There's contact!
Oh, contact! Red Bull rear wing. I mean, not rear wing, just front wing end plate gone. And catcher locks. Oh no, it's catcher's wing. That's all. She has wing damage. She's down to P6. Ardell has no wing damage, so he's still on for this podium. And catcher just super unlucky. She was holding back, waiting for them to screw up somewhere. They did. The catcher went for the move, and Ardell was just in the wrong place, wrong time. And saying could be. Oh, it's Kieran! He hits the wall. He's out. On the final lap, on the final corner, he is out.
Wow, while you're on your little speech, Killer won the Grand Prix, but based off of time penalties. So I said it time and time again, I'm always proving right. You need to keep it on the tarmac. Whoever will keep it on the tarmac the most, well, chances are will win the Grand Prix. Ron Swanson in the Ferrari will win the Austrian Grand Prix with Killer unfortunately not able to end up on the podium as it is a Ron, Gary, Ardell podium.
That was a race. Only 11 drivers, but we had a really hectic end to the race, and I'm very happy that happened because before then it was looking like a pretty dull race, but yeah. Unfortunate for some, but I think the viewers definitely would have enjoyed that into the race.
100%. As we had a highest viewers of the race was 35, which is fantastic to see. You always love to see when the viewers always tune into a Breakout Racing League race, as I will check out Race Director for anyone that needs it. As DXT, you can give your review of the race, as I'll be looking through the Race Director.
I'd say that race was a bit interesting at the start, and I think the Alpines were a highlight between inter-team battles. They were having a good race, and of course we had Taco out on the first lap. Big implications for the championship fight. Ron, of course, winning the race ahead of Gary. Ardell comes back for a podium. He'll definitely be happy with that, considering where he was at the start of the race. And yeah, overall, I'd say it was a good race, and considering we only had 11 drivers, I think the fact that they all ended up getting points, except for 2, of course, I think it's a good race, and hopefully we can have higher attendance next week, because if we had that race of only 11, I'm sure we'll have even better with 20.
100%, as we'd like, it'd be nice to get our podium finishers here in the party for interviews. So we've gotten our race winner, Ron Swanson, already in. Now we're waiting for Ardell and Gary to join. I'm waiting for the showroom to load for the moment. Alright, there you go. It's loaded. DXD, you can start off the interviews with BRL Ardell.
Yeah, just make sure our podium sitters, please make sure you tick the box so that your audio is included, so we can all hear your wonderful voices on stream. And yeah, Ardell, how would you rate your race? You had that hiccup at the start, but then you came back to the podium. Let me hear your summary of your race, because it was definitely a hectic one.
Yeah, so off the line, I thought I got a pretty good start, then I'm pretty sure it was Garrett just swiped it and took part of my wing off. And then from there, I pitted lap 2. I did not expect to be here at all. I should probably go out and buy a lottery ticket at this point, because I should not be on this podium at all. Yeah, very tiring, and I'm still kind of out of breath, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it does sound like you're out of breath. It seems like under pressure, Ardell, it's taken the most out of you. You've gotten the most pace, especially when you're under pressure. I've gotten one question. I said this 2 weeks ago. I've said it again. You've lost some points to Ron Swanson. Now you're actually back equal to where it was last week before you actually gained back on him. So how do you feel going into Britain, knowing that the championship battle is probably closer than ever now?
I mean, yeah, I really don't. Maybe I'd say a bit worried just because I lost a lot of some points on him. So, yeah, hopefully I just won't get Lewis Hamilton into Cops at Britain. If that doesn't happen, we'll see what happens from there.
DX, do you have any questions for BRL Ardell?
No.
Yeah. Ardell, you're free to go, or free to unclick the box and have just say whatever's on your mind about the race on your mind. As congratulations on your P3 finish going into Britain. Now going on to P2, the Mercedes of Gary, as I'll be taking on for P2. Gary, seems like you weren't there for the first stint, but you played your cards perfectly for the second stint. Was able to get the undercut on Ron and was really able to keep it on the tarmac. Safety car comes out. You had the time penalty advantage over Killer, but you were equal with Ron, and that was able to get you P2. Give me your thoughts, really, about the race and how it went through in your eyes.
Yeah, well, I can't deny it was a good race, and in the end, can't turn down a P2. I mean, Ron's absolute solid race. I mean, the only thing I could try to catch him to close the gap was the undercut. So I had to go for it. Like I say, great pit crew in me here telling me what to do, when to do it. And yeah, it's just unfortunate for Killer because he was gone. Seriously. But yeah, congratulations to both the other 2 podium finishers, and yeah, well done, Ron. Absolute solid race. Can't give him enough praise on that.
Yeah. Ever until Canada, you had momentum on your side. Now, knowing that you've gotten the podium here in Austria, now going into Britain, how do you feel about your pace around there, and what do you think you're going to be able to do, at least of right now?
I'm going home, mate. That's what it is. I'm British. I'm coming home. So's the cup, yeah. I've got a bit of catching up to do on the league points-wise after the last couple of races. Didn't go to plan, but like I say, happy with the P2. Let's get this momentum back on pace.
Yep, 100%. DXD, do you have any questions for the Mercedes driver of Gary?
Yeah, Gary, how did you get... Because I remember before the pit stop, you were a few seconds off Ron. You must have been pushing like heck to get that undercut to work. That was just really impressive.
Yeah, I knew it was either 19 or 20. I had the assumption that most people were going to pretty much pit on lap 20, so I thought if I go 19 and Ron doesn't, I'm going in. And fingers for the best, obviously. He's on old mediums, I'm on fresh softs. Fortunately enough, I was able to get behind some cars that give me DRS, push me pace further, got past them no problem, because like I say, hard tyres, old mediums, and then just had to try and close the gap as much as I did, and then obviously came out the pits right behind him, exactly where I wanted to be. Well, ideally it'd have been in front of him, but it'd have been a heck of a race after that. So yeah, I'm happy.
Congratulations on your P2, Gary, as we will go on to our race winner of the Tier 3 Austrian Grand Prix, the Ferrari Ron Swanson, every week you prove me correct when I say in order to win the race or even be on the podium, you got to keep it on the tarmac, get the least amount of time penalties. Seemed like you didn't have the pace compared to Killer, but you were the second fast car. Arguably third behind Gary, but you still got the win nonetheless. Walk us through the race of your eyes and how you felt.
Yeah, that was it was quite interesting. I mean, qualifying went super interesting. I kind of wanted to ask if you guys were surprised by that the fact that the medium tire were almost felt like the more preferred tire in the end. Because, I mean, even when we went on that final soft run that me and Fridays went on, and we both invalidated, it was only 2/10 up, and he wasn't even positive. He was actually negative on his time. So it was really weird. But we started on the mediums. That ended up really being the smartest choice in the end of the day. Keeping my head cool. I got hit by someone behind. I don't actually remember who it was. I think it actually might have been Gary
It was
on the
Gary.
first
I
couple
was
of laps.
on the start.
Yeah, but it was fun racing him. We had that huge gap. The two Haas guys were killing each other for the first couple of laps, scaring me. Luckily, one of them gave the other wing damage, so eventually that battle stopped. Killer was on a whole nother pace. He would pretty much get 3 seconds out. He had his 3 second, and then he got up to like 5 seconds, almost 6 seconds, and then he gave himself a 6 second. Then he got to like 8 seconds, and then he gave himself a 9-second penalty. So every time he was about to hit the next penalty mark, gave himself a penalty. I was content with P2, especially since I thought I had lost P2, because Gary did that whole undercut. He pitted where we would have had to run 16 laps on the softs. I didn't want to do that, so I made it so it would only be 14 laps at the very least, and hoped that the cars that he just said helped him would hurt him, and I guess they didn't. But he did a phenomenal job. He scared me because he got past me in the pits, and I passed him back a lap later, which was lucky for me. But in the end, I just could not shake him anytime I tried. And then eventually I hit the point where I just couldn't bring my battery up at all. I couldn't raise it up. And then anytime I felt like I was getting there, I had to use it again just to get myself some security that he wouldn't try anything. And then, you know, another safety car gift. Kind of felt bad for Killer. But in the end of the day, like, he had some extreme pace, but he gave himself 9 seconds of penalty. So in the end of the day, you gotta take it nice and easy. One warning on the day, one I really shouldn't have got. I kind of just, you know, acted stupid. But it was a good finish. It was nice to win again. Yeah.
Actually, to answer your question about the medium in qualifying, to be honest, I really wasn't, because if you set like a medium lap, it's always difficult to improve your soft run. I was just as surprised about the amount of people that didn't improve on their soft run. I thought at least majority would have, but not most of them improved. I'd say 95 of them didn't, just to answer your question about qualifying. But DXD, unless I have selective hearing, did you ask any questions to Ron?
Did not. You got a question for me?
Yeah, I kind of thought about it during the race. I know the answer is no, but did you ever consider letting Gary through in those early stages and just to like build up your ERS behind him and just fly past him? And then try and catch Killer?
The final stint, you mean?
Yeah, the final stint.
Oh, no way. And I felt way faster than him. I didn't want to take such a chance. He was barely staying there sometimes. And Biwo, again, did a fantastic job whenever he got the chance. He told me, and he never told me this exactly, but I came to the conclusion that every time he got to a higher ERS number, from what he told me, he was falling off, and I almost got out of DRS range from him. And then every time he came back, he'd be like 5-6 tenths back, but he would have the same amount of ERS as me. So I just assumed that he was trying to save. He really couldn't, and he had no choice but to waste his ERS to try to stick with me. with the DRS. So I don't think we could have caught Killer at all. I felt faster than him. It was just the DRS strain. I could not lose him for the life of me. But yeah, no, so it was a lucky safety car and a good finish. And it's going to be interesting. There's going to be a lot of jostling. I've already heard the podium isn't going to end up the way it did.
Yep, I was about to say there's already 2 stewards against the White Bull for the final time. I can say
Ardell.
Of Ardell. There was actually 2 reports.
I was told failed to follow the white line. And then I was at the incident from France that Killer had, where he spun and gave Gary wing damage. Ardell did the same thing, sadly, to Catra. But yeah, Biwo caught that he failed to stay within the pit entry line.
No, I caught it.
So you did not.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was watching the stream. So if I'm correct, unless he has something on Killer, it means Killer is gonna get the podium if those go through. I don't know about the other one, but I assume the white line one will. That wasn't even me. I mean, in the end, hey, it actually helps me because the less points for you is the better for me. But in the end, that's how the road works. You gotta take it easy. You gotta not make mistakes. And I did exactly that.
Yep, it is time to round
Ardell, you're echoing.
Yeah, I was about to say Ardell, your mic. Your mic, it's echoing, but... Anyway, it is time to close off the BRL Tier 3. In about 30 minutes, we'll have Tier 4, which I will be returning with Feta Cheese 33 to commentate Tier 4 in order to sub for Minico. Saturdays, we have Tier 1 and Tier 2, the fastest guys in the league. We'll go at it here at the Red Bull Wing. But, Red Bull Wing, yes, Red Bull Ring. Red Bull Ring. But on Sunday, we will have BRL ACC, which will conclude the weekend of Austria. And we will see you in about